I am Venom.
Fuck this guy!
So I just saw Morbius by Daniel Espinosa, and it was predictably bad. From the trailers, I knew it was going to be bad. I wasn't even optimistic it would be good. I knew it would be bad. And despite knowing this movie was going to be terrible, I still was disappointed. That's how bad it is. I thought at the very least it would be so bad that it's good, or at the very, very least, have a dumb action movie, one of those shut off your brain kind of things. But I can't even do that because the movie is so boring. And honestly, being boring is worse than being bad. Because at least if you're bad, I'm engaged to an extent, I can make fun of it, but this film bored me to tears. The only slight reprieve from this movie was that the bad guy killed 6 guys and then started dancing. That was pretty funny. And the people at the end who started screaming and clapping because the movie was over. All the characters in the movie have absolutely no chemistry. Jared Leto was the biggest letdown by far because performance in Suicide Squad was crazy. I was hoping to see more of that. It would be bad.
You are my guests to this handsome hunka hunka. I'm an idea. State of mind.
But at least it's better than this tamed nothing of a performance. The action wasn't even good. In the trailers, there's a scene where Morbius is flying and it looks like shit. But in the movie, they add a bunch of blur lines so you can't even see anything. This movie as well is so dark visually. Even in the daytime scenes, it's hard to make out what you're seeing. The only time you can see anything happening is when there's slow-mo, which they do way too often, and it's bad. If you think the Venom movies are hard to see, it is nothing in comparison to Morbius. The effects were awful. And look, I'm not a huge gore guy. I don't need that in my movies for it to be good. I don't need to see someone's head get cut off and be like, yeah, 10 out of 10. But they keep talking about how the corpses are drained of blood because he's a vampire, but the bodies look fine. They don't even bleed, so there's just that disconnect. Again, they don't need to be a total dismantled corpse, but I mean, just a little bit. The main conflict is that Morbius doesn't want to kill people, but needs blood. But why doesn't he just steal from Red Cross? He works at a hospital. In the movie as well, he invented artificial blood, which works perfectly on everyone else. One of the police detectives even says it saved his arm in Afghanistan when interviewing Morbius. Just steal a bunch of AB negative blood. Everyone else can use the artificial blood. AB negative's like 1% of the population. They'll be fine. You literally lock yourself in a container for 6 hours and you didn't even think of that. What were you doing? There were no instances of the score affecting a scene. I honestly can't even remember any of the songs used or any instruments, anything. The movie opens with Morbius going to a cave with a bunch of bats and they fly out, and then it cuts to his lab later in the movie where all the bats are stored. But he didn't have a net and the people with him didn't help. How did they get in the bat tube? Since Morbius is wanted for vampire murder, he needs to get a new lab. But then later in the movie, he just goes back to his old lab anyway, which for some reason isn't under serious inspection, even though they believe he killed more than 10 people. The cinematography was bland, aside from one shot where Morbius is transforming and runs on the roof of the room. It lasts less than 5 seconds, and honestly, talking about it now, it wasn't even that good. The main story is about Morbius suffering from a disease that has been killing him since he was born, and so he does bad experiments and becomes a Batman. But his friend Milo wants the power because he also has that disease, but Morbius doesn't do it because he thinks it's cursed. Then Milo does it and becomes evil Morbius, and that's it. These characters have no chemistry. They're supposed to be lifelong friends, but they talk like they've just met and are still in that awkward phase where they're trying to find out what their common interests are. The final fight between the two is no hyperbole, 100% serious, one of the worst final fights in an action movie I've seen. You can't see anything. And then it ends with Morbius using bullshit. The script just says, okay, you win now, and then he wins. When the movie ended, I burst into laughter. I didn't think it was going to end there. It seems like a mistake. I will be getting into spoilers, which you shouldn't care about, but on the off chance you're a huge Morbius fan, which believe me, I am, you can skip to the time code on screen. 3, 2, 1. So Milo kills Morbius' pseudo-father and Morbius' love interest, and not in the same place. They're like 5 minutes apart. Morbius makes her a vampire, but not his pseudo-father. He just lets him die. He was like alive for a long time too, because Milo like cut his stomach open, so that's... what the hell, dude? He's also able to hear her with his echolocation somehow in the city, which doesn't make any sense because you're in New York. You would hear literally everything. How can you pinpoint this one location down? He also plans originally on killing Milo, then himself, because of their powers being a curse and he doesn't want to kill people on accident. So when he does eventually kill Milo, there's not a scene where he debates killing himself. He just doesn't do it. Again, it seems like a missing scene where he should go, the world needs me to protect them. I'm the only defender. And again, he makes his girlfriend a vampire. He ditches her. So what were you going to do? Let's say you did kill yourself. Okay, now there's this other vampire out now. The Vulture is now in this universe because of No Way Home, which is to set up what I assume is going to be the Sinister Six. Based on him saying he wants to get a team together. But who will they be fighting? Spider-Man isn't here. Even if Spider-Man was here, what reason would Morbius Morbius have to fight Spider-Man? Venom's a freak to Spider-Man. I can see how he'd be on board beating up Tom Holland. But what reason does Morbius have? Morbius is like a good guy, and that's it. Why would he do it? Apparently Scorpion wasn't brought over, so that's a bummer. Overall, Morbius was bad. Again, I think it's amazing. I was disappointed in something I knew would suck. Don't watch this. It's bad. It's not funny bad, just creatively bankrupt. I haven't seen a movie in such a long time where it's so apparent nobody wanted to be there. I give Morbius a 2 out of 10.